Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast. I'm your host today, Nate Weitzer, flying solo with Midwest Mo as Josh Lander is traveling. We will be back to the normal schedule, though, of course, the rest of the week with Josh. That is 2 game videos and this player props video, which are our favorite to bring you each and every weekday. We're about 70% on this, although we've been a little off the last couple nights, hoping to get back on the horse here. I'm going to lead it off here on a full Wednesday slate with Paul George against the Rockets. And man, this was ugly when these two teams met. I mean, the Clippers offense is abysmal right now, but PG, even in that slop fest, had 35, 9, and 8 on a 35% usage rate. His previous game, 39% usage. Only got 14 points because he was facing Herb Jones and the Pelicans. But the Rockets, as we know, absolutely no resistance on defense. So his prop at 24.5 points. I like combining it with the assists, 29.5. He's just going to have the ball in his hands so much without Kawhi, who hasn't played since October 23rd. Even if Kawhi plays, he's coming off the bench in limited minutes. So it's PG controlling the offense right now. Maybe his assist spiked because John Wall wasn't in that previous game, and now John Wall will be in there. But again, Clippers staggering their lineups. Like when it's the starters, it's PG getting that usage. You look at his numbers without Kawhi, it's a 35% usage rate up from 28%. He averages 25 up from 21 and gets 5 dimes a game. And then you combine that with the matchup you're looking at. Houston, a little bit less of a sieve than last year, 23rd defensive rating, 9th in pace. Still allowing the 6th most dimes per game. Still the 3rd most paint points, most fast break points, worst 2-point percentage allowed. So yeah, I mean, PG should have another nice game against this team, even if we don't see either team break 100.
Yeah, that would be my concern here, I guess, is what sort of a scoring environment we're going to see in this game. That being said, that usage jump is massive. I mean, that's really big. So no real surprise, I guess. But I honestly would have expected more Reggie Jackson by this point. I've been a little surprised he hasn't taken more control of the offense. So if that's going to continue, then that's, I guess, a good thing for Paul George's chances here. Playing way up in pace against, it looks like the 7th fastest team here. We know the Clippers are always much more leaning toward a half-court game. So that helps as well here. So I think not a spot where I would expect too much resistance from the Rockets for sure. Just would be worried about a bit of a lower scoring game just because the Clippers seem to find themselves in those in most cases so far this year.
Yeah, I don't think Reggie Jackson's fully healthy either. I think he had an issue coming into the season, and John Wall's minutes being limited. So we saw, even with 95 points, PG getting 35 of those, that he's going to have huge usage. Mo tends to like unders when we do these videos, and I guess he's going under here in a Detroit-Milwaukee game, and why not?
Yeah, this one, little bit scary for sure, given how well Cade Cunningham's been playing. He's just basically putting up like LeBron type numbers, 25, 7, and 6 every time I look at the box score, I feel like. And he just put it on the Bucks last game, 27, 6, and 7. But at the same time, when you are looking at the Bucks, you are looking at the best defense in the league so far. I think with the best defense in the league, they're not going to want to let that happen again. They're going to maybe adjust their coverages a little more to limit Cade and see what this Detroit supporting cast can do, which we wouldn't expect it to be much, right? I don't think anybody would expect much out of them. And Cade's just been the engine that's keeping this team from losing by 50 every game, basically. I mean, without Cade, this offense is just completely and utterly worthless. So I'm just basically, this is more of like a mentality play where I just think, okay, this dude just put it on us. We have the best defense. Like, let's make someone else beat us this game. So looking at numbers right now, and it's there was some 22.5s and some 21.5s for his points. It looks like it's came down in some spots. I'm seeing even a 20.5, but I like under 21.5 with, not having to lay minus 140 basically on the under there. I'd much rather just see if they can fade one more point there. And yeah, I think under 21.5 seems fine here. I mean, that's not that much lower than what he's averaging on the season.
For me, this is kind of a bet on a double-digit win for the Bucks. I mean, because you see sharp money moving this up. They were plus 11, and the Pistons only lost by two nights ago. But the expectation is the Bucks took them a little lightly, saw something, and now they'll just come out and drop the hammer. And then Cade doesn't play in the fourth quarter, then you're sitting pretty for the under. So, yeah, as you see that spread creep up, it does make sense. He didn't, get to 20 in any of his previous 4 games against the Bucks. 14, 19, 9, and 6. I mean, those 9 and 6 were early in his rookie year when he was still coming off the ankle injury and not playing like this kind of monster. But, I mean, when you have Drew Holiday, when you have Giannis options to put on him, I understand feeling pretty good about the under. But I think you need a non-competitive game for him to not get there. Looking at the Sixers and Wizards here, I don't know what's up with Bradley Beal, man. I mean, he used to be aggressive. Is he just sitting on the laurels of his Supermax? But he did get, 25 and 6 against Philly on Monday. He had a nice usage spike to 28% and only shot 7 for 18 against what's not really a good defense. I mean, they allow 22 points per game to shooting guards. They're 28th in 2-point percentage, but 4th in paint points, which to me says they give it up in the mid-range whenever you want. So Beal, I think, should have success operating in between the three-point line and the bucket here. You look at, before last season, he averaged 36 a game against Philly. He dropped a 60-piece on them at one point. And he's just been kind of light in terms of usage this season and last season he was injured. But when he's hit at least 27% usage rate, you look at versus Indy, 31 points, versus a great Cleveland defense, 27 points. So I like over on 20.5 here. Interesting, you can get minus 120 for him to just hit 2 threes, which he's done in 3 straight. And if you want to throw in the peripheral stats, 30.5 points, rebounds, assists, I think he'll be getting enough usage here, and it'll be close enough against the Sixers for him to hit all those props.
Man, it's just shocking to see a number this low next to Brad Beal's name. I just can't believe we're looking at numbers like 20.5 on this guy. I believe he was close to leading the league in scoring a couple seasons ago. I mean, man.
Yeah.
But
it was him and Steph down the wire, yeah.
Yeah. Then you look at Philly, though, and this team, once again, playing at a glacial pace. No surprise there. But I think if Embiid's not playing, it's going up generally, going up quite a bit. More maxi with the ball. We know Harden likes to play in the half court, but he doesn't mind getting out and running every now and then either. And Philly, they haven't been as good as you would have expected on defense so far. Just sitting kind of in the middle of the pack in a lot of the metrics. But yeah, Brad Beal, man, 26% usage. I mean, that is multiple percents lower than he's been the last few seasons. So I haven't looked too deep into the Wizards yet this year, so I'm not sure what's going on there, but he's generally been around 32, 33%. So that's a pretty massive drop. And you're looking at a Washington team that honestly should rely more and more on him as he's, in his prime and they're kind of shedding some other pieces in a lot of spots. But maybe having Monte Morris running the offense a little bit is shifting him more into an off-ball role. But I guess I'm still surprised to see a number this low. So would definitely lean over this low of a number, even against Philly. I mean, 20.5 is just not that many points for a guy like Brad Beal.
Yeah, I mean, well, his individual matchup isn't going to be that tough against Harden or Maxey unless, they give Melton big minutes off the bench. Kyle Kuzma is starting to slow down offensively, so that should, lead to more usage for Beal. Close us out here, Mo, with your last prop. I mean, De'Aaron Fox not necessarily ruled out, but I don't think we expect him to play after leaving on Monday with the bone bruise. So how do you feel about Davion Mitchell?
Yeah, unfortunate for my fantasy team because, man, is De'Aaron Fox ever off to a blazing hot start this year? I mean, it's just unsurprising because, this is a Kings team that can't stop anybody, but they do have some solid pieces on offense. Same basically profile that they had last year. Davion Mitchell basically, so he stepped into that last game. Fox, I think he only played 9 minutes. So they just basically threw Davion Mitchell in there and said, see what you can do. And he did it. He did it big time. 23 on 9 for 11 shooting. But I just don't see him really being ready for a high usage role whatsoever. I mean, his previous scoring high for the season was 7 points. He really struggled last year. Very, very inefficient season on offense. Playing down in pace against Miami, 24th in pace there. I think the market is basically just expecting. So I would just throw out there, but market definitely not expecting Fox to play. Okay, because Davion props just hit the market like less than an hour ago. 15.5. That is not going to be the line, obviously, ever if De'Aaron Fox is playing. So I think basically the market is just plugging him in as a starter and thinking he's going to kind of use up a lot of the usage that Fox did. I mean, not to a full 100%, he's taking all of Fox's shots level, but and they're going to expect something like what happened last game, but I just don't. Davion has not been a good offensive player. He has not been able to sustain any sort of high usage role. He's only got a 20% usage rate this year. Lot of turnovers, very inefficient. Not a good scorer last year, although he's been a bit better so far this year. It's still early, very small sample. I'm guessing that 9 of 11 was basically an outlier is what I'm saying. So under 15.5, it's a bit juiced to the under, unfortunately, but I still think we should not expect 15 plus points here. I mean, this is not a player who's just going to step in and just take the wheels of the offense and roll, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, he's known for his defense, right? And you saw that initial spike. You see from some guys when they get their shot come out and show what they can do, but this is not the matchup for him to just show what he can do offensively. Miami's numbers are skewed right now against point guards because they played Steph twice, but perennially one of the toughest teams to beat from the point guard position. And they're at home here against the Kings team that they lost to already. So that is a risk in terms of the Kings not necessarily being competitive. Miami is really, really good at home, really good defensively. So I'm on board with that. Love Mo coming on, bringing us some unders with his Grinch hat and hoping for the Phillies to send the Astros home here over the next couple days, perhaps. But that is all the time we have for you on the NBA show today. Please come back every single weekday. We have these 3 videos. And until we see you next, happy betting.